Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. By now, I'm assuming that most of you have heard about the two bombshells in the latest hearing regarding the SEC versus Ripple case. And I highlighted one of them in a very recent video, which is that there's a judge that said that her understanding was that XRP had both a currency value and also utility value, which is amazing because that's exactly what the SEC says it does not have on both of those fronts. And so that was cool. That really was a bombshell moment. And understandably, it got quite a reaction out of the XRP community, myself included. There was another bombshell that was noticed by attorney Jeremy Hogan, which I'll be highlighting in this video. I assume that most of you have heard it at this point, but in this video, I'm actually going to share opinions from 3 different attorneys. And so one of them is Jeremy Hogan, of course. One is John Deaton, and he just seems, and rightfully so, disgusted by the actions of the SEC. I'm completely on board with him on that. And then there's another attorney who I always appreciate for having a level head, and some people, like, it's just kind of interesting to me. Like, most of the XRP community is good to these attorneys that are just sharing their honest opinions, but there's like a fringe that just, if it's not positive news, it's like you're now the enemy attorney, and I don't like that either. But Jesse Hines, I always appreciate his insight, whether it sounds really good for Ripple and XRP or if it sounds bad. I certainly believe that he's being intellectually honest, and that's what I value. So as long as that's the case, and there's not some sort of negative news coming from a place of ideology or something like that, I'm totally good with that. But it's not that he thinks that this is all bad news. I'm going to have to share with you as this video goes through, but he was making a clarification that I think was lost on many in the XRP community that I do want to bring up, and I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere else. Now, I do want to be clear. Before going any further, I don't have a legal or financial background, and so you absolutely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm definitely not offering advice of any kind. I'm really nothing more than an enthusiast that likes to make YouTube videos on, topics such as Ripple and XRP and crypto in general as a hobby, but that is all that it is. All right, so we'll start with this. Here's a new headline. Crypto exchange did not violate SEC norms by selling XRP. Well, how about that? So says the SEC in 2021, literally just yesterday, right? And so check this out. The latest hearing on the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple managed to catch many headlines, which indicates possible good days coming in for Ripple. Jeremy Hogan, partner of Hogan & Hogan, an American-British law firm, was one of the attendees in the hearing. In his YouTube video stating the current hearing as a bombshell-dropping discovery hearing, Hogan shed light on important points discussed. And by the way, I always want to give credit where it's due, so this is his YouTube channel. I think that a ton of the people that subscribe to my channel have already jumped on board, and for good reason. He deserves all the credit in the world. I always look forward to his YouTube videos, and so if you just want to type in legal briefs in the YouTube search bar, you shall find it, and this is it right here. So just to make sure credit goes where it is due. All right, Mr. Hogan in the video stressed 2 major points that were the spotlight of the entire hearing. The first event was a small discussion about the cryptos, specifically XRP, in between Magistrate Judge Netburn and Ripple's lawyer Matthew Solomon. During the hearing, the judge interrupted Mr. Solomon to say the following. My understanding about XRP is not only does it have a currency value, but it has a utility, and that utility distinguishes it from Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I already broke that down in a video yesterday, so the purpose of this video is not to go through that, but I did want to mention it just to make sure everybody's caught up to speed on this. But the piece continues. No doubt Mr. Solomon disagreed. Well, I'm sure disagreed on part of it, not all of it. Yet it was pretty clear that the judge also has done some research about XRP. And by the way, that's a point I brought up the other day. I think this judge did do some research, but doesn't know as much about crypto as perhaps you and I do because she's just not in the space. She can learn it. I mean, she's obviously very sharp, very intelligent, and well respected. But in terms of the utility of Bitcoin and Ethereum, those are things that you and I could, like, I think, snap of the finger, just discuss off the top of our head, and we wouldn't really need to ask a question like that. And so that's not some sort of mean or harsh critique. It's just, I think that's the state of where we're at. It's nothing against who she is or her qualifications or anything like that. I think that she's doing the right thing in bringing up these subjects and seeking clarification on topics that she's not a specialist in. That's perfectly reasonable. Anyway, piece continues. Now, and this is where it gets interesting. This is what I want to focus on for the rest of the video. And the second most important statement coming from the SEC attorney raised many eyebrows. About halfway through the case, the judge skeptically made a remark to the SEC attorney. She asked whether everyone who sold XRP sold them illegally. So think about that. She's talking about you and I. If we sold XRP, was it illegal? What if it's an exchange? Was that exchange selling it illegally? What if it's some sort of business unrelated to Ripple? If they sold XRP, was that done illegally? Now, to this, the SEC's lawyer replied on record, and this is a quote now from the SEC attorney. No, under Section 4, only Ripple and affiliates of Ripple can have sold XRP illegally. Well, how about that? And so Jeremy Hogan heard that, and that's when he was like, well, that's certainly big news. Do you guys see why at this point, right? If it's not clear, hold on just a second. Piece continues. Therefore, the SEC made it very clear, other than Ripple and its employees, no individual, exchanges, or any other platform violate SEC guidelines by selling XRP. It's a pretty huge statement that can relist XRP on all the exchanges in the U.S. So this is something I want to talk about. I'm going to hop into it. Just give me a couple minutes to go through some more stuff. I don't think, and I could be wrong, I don't suspect that the exchanges in the United States are going to be relisting XRP anytime soon. I think not until you have legal clarifications surrounding what XRP actually is, despite this, and I'll explain the reason why I say that. So I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade. I'm just like you. I'm pro XRP. It's my biggest holding, and I want it to be relisted. I think it should be. I don't think that it will be. Not before there's sufficient regulatory clarity. So again, I'll flesh that out. But first, I wanted to highlight some tweets, including this one from an XRP community member, XR Patience. I like this. The SEC's case against Ripple is wrecked. R-E-K-T. They have to settle, or the case law that gets established when Ripple hands their ass to them in open court will prevent the SEC from ever going after another cryptocurrency again. And I want to be clear, that's actually not hyperbole. And there have been attorneys that have absolutely talked about this, and there's one in particular, I'm trying to think if it came from Jeremy Hogan. It may have. I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but there's one of the attorneys that I follow that cited, look, It's like things are so lopsided at this point that if things go in favor of Ripple, it's going to dramatically reduce the power that the SEC has, because precedent will have been set. Now, on the flip side, if they win, precedent will still be set, and that will be very bad for the world of crypto, just the entire crypto sphere in general. Not going to have a good day if that happens. But yeah, I definitely share the sentiment that XR Patience shared right there, so I thought I'd just highlight it. Now I got some comments from attorney John Deaton, he's like me, and I'm probably most of you listening too, we're all disgusted about this, right? Let's be real. And so he wrote the following. In our writ of mandamus, I made a bold statement when I said, quote, "It is legally incorrect, intellectually dishonest, and completely disingenuous for any SEC lawyer to stand up in open court and claim that all XRPs are securities. If the SEC attempted to make that argument, it would be laughable if the economic damage that has been done wasn't so tragic." And then his tweet continues. I said, no SEC lawyer can stand up in open court in good faith and claim that the XRP and XRP holders' accounts are securities. Yesterday proved us correct. And so that's why, and understandably so, that's why everybody that has been made aware of this news in the XRP community is pretty much rejoicing, pretty ecstatic about this. I totally get why. And then John Deaton wrote this as well. And it was a retweet of a thread that he highlighted, or that he wrote rather on January 17th, which I actually previously highlighted in a video. I'm not going to in this video. But it was talking about the damage that was done as a result of the SEC going after Ripple, and the fact that the SEC was warned. Like Jay Clayton, the asshat, he was absolutely warned that there was going to be complete and utter investor financial devastation. But he was like, I don't think they care. I'm an asshat. That's what he said to it. Anyway, that's what I heard. Anyway, John E. Deaton said the following. On January 17th, I sent out this thread. If you read this thread and then listen to the SEC enforcement lawyer, the SEC lawyer say that the SEC isn't claiming XRP sold by the exchanges are securities, and check this out, and there's a reason he wrote this following part in all caps, then why didn't the SEC make sure that the exchanges knew they could trade XRP and avoid billions in losses to individual holders? Exactly. Because look, in a court, literally, for sure, yesterday, this is an SEC attorney stating that only Ripple's in trouble or Ripple employees if they sold XRP, and that's it. Not exchanges. Why didn't they make that clear? Would that not have prevented the exchanges from removing XRP? And so this is a big part of what's so disgusting about this, and I'm going to articulate why also I still don't think they're going to add it back. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I'm just, if I had to guess, you know. But John continues. Why didn't the SEC make it clear in responding to the writ of mandamus? Instead, it said the SDNY would decide. But when faced with a question from a judge, they say, of course we aren't claiming that XRP sold by others unrelated to Ripple are unregistered securities. And then he wraps up by stating, I guarantee that the SEC will respond to our pre-motion letter to intervene that it's unnecessary for us to be at the table because the SEC never claimed we held unregistered securities. My response will be, if it's unnecessary, then don't object. Well said indeed, Mr. Deaton. And then he highlighted a clip from Jeremy Hogan's latest video in which he uncovered these. He uncovered one of them. He's the first that I'm aware of to uncover one of the bombshells, but he covered two bombshells in the video. And Johnny Deaton retweeted a little clip from that, and he wrote, the SEC has 5 days to respond to our pre-motion letter. Let's see what they say in writing now. Indeed, I look forward. This is quite the drama, man. Like, somebody needs to make some sort of, I don't know, maybe not a sitcom about this, but some sort of dramatic limited TV feature or something like this. I don't know. Are we going to turn it into a Lifetime movie? We just having a killer time. All right, so now here's attorney Jesse Hines, who shared his opinion. And he wrote the following. So he had a slightly different take. Or at least, well, maybe that's not even the most appropriate way to word it. He pointed out something that I really didn't see anyone else point out, and I think that it deserves to be discussed. And so here's what Jesse Hines said. Let's clarify something. The SEC attorney mentioned that XRP sold by everyone other than Ripple and their executives is not subject to Section 5 registration requirements. And by the way, I believe that it's actually Section 4, either that or this piece that I covered made a mistake. One of them made a mistake because the piece says it's Section 4, and then Jesse Hines wrote that it's Section 5. I'm going to read it just like he wrote it. I just thought I'd bring it up because they're citing different sections, but to get the point across, it functionally doesn't matter. I just wanted to mention it. Anyway, but Jesse Hines continues. This fact alone does not make the XRP you sell not a security. Rather, it means that you are exempt from having to register it under Section 5, even if it was a security. I love XRP, but I hate false info. So look at it this way. Now that we have this information, it seems clear that the SEC could have, that exchanges in the United States could have continued to sell XRP, and the SEC wouldn't have ended up having some sort of claim against them. That doesn't mean that they're protected. As cited by Jesse Hines, there's a separate tweet. I don't know if I see it. Yeah, here you go. Check out this. Somebody asked, Lee XRP asked, Jesse, doesn't it also mean that exchanges are free from risk too? They don't have to register it as a security, right? And Jesse Hines wrote, you would think yes, but they still face lawsuits. So even if the SEC wasn't going to go after them, they would still face lawsuits, potentially, because there's all sorts of people that are out for money grabs. So, if you're the legal team that's advising just the Coinbase executives or pick your exchange, the most prudent thing to do, I suppose, if you just want to be very super safe, would just be to remove XRP, right? And so even if they hadn't, and they didn't have to, it seems pretty clear now the SEC would not have gone after them. And even if nothing bad happened and other little money grabbing people didn't come after them, it still doesn't mean that they would have indefinitely been able to continue selling XRP, because there is still a real risk, and I don't think this is going to happen, but there is a real risk that XRP itself could be declared a security, which would be completely absurd, obviously. Now, if that happened, even if Coinbase, for example, say they never halted the trading of XRP and they allowed it to go through, well, once it gets to the point where XRP is declared an actual security, the asset itself, if that were to happen, well, they'd still have to stop selling it then unless there's some sort of exemption provided by the SEC. But at that point, they'd still have to stop anyway. So the bottom line is the main question of this case is XRP, does it represent an investment contract that's still at the core of this? And once this is all said and done, if even if you don't get something written by the SEC stating that the XRP is not a security, they're not going to be able to bring this charge again. Legally, they can't do that. So that will be equivalent, really, functionally, from a legal perspective, that's my understanding anyway, to getting the green light effectively. And then we won't have to worry about any of this nonsense anyway. But anyway, I think it's a good point that Jesse Hines brought up. And if you're one of the fringe people that doesn't like negative sounding stuff, I'd just say, could you rethink your stance, please? Do you want truth, or you just want stuff that's hype and going to make you feel good? Because I personally just want to believe as many true things as possible, even if they don't make me feel good. Because I don't want to live in a fantasy land. And I've got real money invested in XRP. And if this thing goes south, I want to be aware if it's about to head south. So I want to know all the real true stuff here, not all the fantasy land hype, lollipop, sunshine bullcrap. If there's bad stuff, I want to know. And it's not as if the SEC doesn't have any valid points against Ripple. They do. They have legitimate points. I still think that on the whole, they're wrong. And I believe that Jesse Hines would say the same thing. But it doesn't mean that things also are going to turn out favorably for XRP holders. I think they will. I just want to be a realist. Do you guys see what I'm getting at here? It's not to rain on anyone's parade. It's to be a realist. And if you've got your money invested in XRP, I think you should want the same. Even if something's bad and it's not good to go through the feels of something that doesn't sound positive, do you want to live in fantasy land, or do you want to be an adult and recognize reality? Because for me, the answer is reality. And I think that that's the position that most in the XRP community come from. But there's this fringe percentage of people, and look, in any group big enough, sufficiently big, you're going to get all God's creatures. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get all different people with all sorts of different temperaments and personalities and all that. And so there's this fringe that they just don't act like that in life in general, it seems. And they're also noisy. They're very, the people that are not thinking analytically, it's my life experience, not just in the XRP community, just in groups in general. They're the noisiest people, and they're the most nonsensical. And it makes it sound like they have a louder voice and perspective than is actually the case. It's actually not the case that there are a ton of conspiracy theorists and anti-intellectual people in the XRP community. That's definitely not the case. They're just really loud. And so I just want to make sure people know that, because it's worth citing here. It's definitely worth citing here, but it's just all sorts of regular adult people from all walks of life that have really thoroughly done their research and think that XRP is amazing and can change the way money moves around the planet, and then some. There's all sorts of other use cases here. And that's where I'm coming from. I've done my research as well, and I still feel confident, and I am riding this thing out, for better or worse, because there's no way to know for sure what's going to happen. I'm still going to ride this out. But I'll wrap up there. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.